Good evening, everyone. You're welcome to our program tonight. This afternoon is sunny, it's beautiful, the weather is lovely, the UK weather is very inviting, and I think if you haven't been out there today, you're missing a lot. So I will implore you to go out there and enjoy the sunshine. So my name is Madonna Nwohiri. I am a social worker by profession. We are gathered here today because we are gathered here today to have a discussion. It's going to be a discussion. We're not teaching anyone. We're just going to be discussing and sharing information about on the impact of antisocial behavior and bullying on children and parents. I have my co-presenters here today. My professional colleague, Wendy. Wendy will be introducing herself. I have Mr. Chime Ogweri. And we have Dr. Ima Wogo. He's not, I think he's going to be joining much later, but in the absence, whatever happens, he's in Canada enjoying himself with his family. Yes, okay. So this is the purpose of this, or what triggered this. It's because of I might actually say we are from the Igbo group, the Igbo Community Development Group, Chelmsford, in United Kingdom. So we are the ones that organize this, and they very happily asked me to present this topic. Right. So before I go forward, I would want us to introduce. Can I ask my professional colleagues to please introduce themselves? Wendy, please.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be here to join you at this meeting. My name is Wendy Atsuete, and I'm a children's social worker. Thank you.
Thank you. Chime, please.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. My name is Chime Ogweri. I am an occupational therapist assistant with the forensic mental health team in Essex.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. And we have many. I'm really excited that we have a lot of children. Thank you, parents, for bringing your children, because this is a topic that really affects everyone, children of all ages. So thank you for bringing them along. So what is bullying? I'm going to be running a bit of rundown. We have introduction, aim, definition of bullying, what is bullying, and what is antisocial behavior, types of bullying. We'll be looking at the impact of bullying on mental health, or children's mental health. And we'll be looking at research, studies, statistics, and all that, and how does it affect me. We might not be able to cover all this today, but we'll be looking at them in a very big spectrum and from every perspective. And how do we prevent bullying, how to avoid being bullied, and how to avoid being a bully, and parents, family values and stuff like that, religious and identity. We're going to be looking at support for children. What are the resources available to children and families? And then we're going to be summarizing that. So there will be questions in between. So if you want to stop the conversation, just give us a, raise your hand. There's some buttons up there, so raise your hands up. Right, okay. So, like I said, the seminar was triggered by the numerous concerns raised by parents within our community in Chelmsford, whose children have been significantly affected by bullying from their peers or other young people who are bullies themselves. So bullying and antisocial behavior seem to be common amongst the African Caribbean communities who are perpetrators and victims. So you may have been, or may have, or may be a victim of bullying or may have bullied other people. So this is the time to help us to bring your own ideas in, and then tell us how you need us, how you want to be supported. Okay. So the aim also is to create awareness on bullying and antisocial behavior, to focus on promoting positive behavior and healthy friendships amongst our young people. And we have also noted that, many of our young Black and ethnic minority groups, young people frequently face exclusions or being removed from lessons, and or have already been expelled due to physical behaviors or antisocial behaviors. So we shall be looking at the impact on our children's physical and mental health, their family lifestyles and other things, and their contributions to society. So what is bullying? So there is a legal definition. There are people waiting. Somebody has said they're waiting outside, so please. Okay. There is no legal definition of bullying, but it is often described as the behavior that hurts someone else. So anyone that tends to behave in a very negative way, it could be physically or emotionally, and this can happen anywhere, whether at school, at home, or online. So we got this from the Office of the National Statistics. So I think I need to share my screen so that we can have an idea of what we're talking about here. Let me share my screen. Can we see that? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So I've just talked about what is bullying, definition of bullying. There are so many ways where children can be bullied, or anyone, and even adults. I've seen adults who have been bullied, who feel that they are being bullied at work, at their workplaces, by their managers or by their colleagues at work. So let's look at other pattern, a pattern of behavior. A pattern of behavior, that is the definition of bullying. Like we said before, there is no clear definition of bullying. It is a pattern of behavior where one individual or group intentionally causes harm to another. Yeah. And this often is triggered by those who are perceived as weaker or more vulnerable. So there are people, for example, we have a lot of young people or children who have developmental delays. They're very shy. They have learning disabilities, and they tend to be the ones who are, being targeted. How are they targeted? Because they can't speak out, and their peers might end up verbally, causing them harm in so many different ways. So the following are some points, some of the key points. So it intends to harm. If any young person has an intention to harm anybody, the behavior is tended to hurt or intimidate. If you intimidate people, I don't know, you young people here, I need you to be noting down all these things, because we will be asking you questions, and then you sharing your own experiences of how you've been bullied or have some impact on yourselves or others that you know. So it could be repetitive. So bullying behaviors occur more than once or have the potential to be repeated over time. It is not accidental or intentional or unintentional, but it is intentional rather. So you could see a group of girls or boys, grooming themselves, punching or speaking out against their peers. So they are intentionally targeting someone who is new in class, in the school, who are not in their own, such an individual may not be in your friendship group. So young people tend to then perpetrate harm on them. Power imbalance. This is often, where there's differences of powers between people. When you say, oh God, some might be physically stronger and some might be, verbally stronger. Some are very vocal, more vocal than the rest. They might have they might be sociable, or they can come from, class, that kind of class classification. So these are all the things, and they tend to have more confidence than the others. So now I got this from a website, talks about every child has a right to. So we're going to be looking at all the things that every child, as an individual, what they have a right to. What do they have a right to? The right to a childhood. Most children do not have this opportunity to have this childhood. They are forced into hiding in their, having the shield. So how does that happen? Because they can't speak for themselves. They feel that when they come out, they can be bullied. And they hide. They hide in. So every child has a right to be heard. For some children who cannot speak out, what tends to happen is they bury their emotions, they hide the emotions. And the ones that can speak out, they speak before they can actually open their mouth. The other young ones would have spoken 500 words per minute. I know there are some children will admit to that. Some siblings, a sibling might be talking, maybe a talkative than the other siblings. Every child has a right to be loved. This love comes from the family, stems from family, and then we tend to see families where children are not allowed to speak. When a child wants to talk, they say, keep quiet, adults are talking. And then what happens? The child hides and doesn't develop, their potentials. The right to social policy, antisocial policy. They have a right to fight this. And we're talking about the antisocial policy, and this is where this is, you can see that it's coming round it. They have the right to be safe. No child should be bullied. They have a right to feel safe in their environment, at home, at school. Even adults, vulnerable adults, have the right to say no to antisocial behaviors. They have a right to be treated fairly and the right to be healthy. So these are we need to be speaking around this. This is like sitting on the round table that they were looking at this. It has this antisocial policy for anti-bullying. So let's look at types of bullying. When did you want to come in here and address the types of bullying, and then we see how that also impacts on the children that you work with. So we give giving examples as we walk along so that we know that there are things here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Madonna. So bullying can come in different ways. It could be emotional, and in an emotional case of bullying, it affects the child's mental well-being. It affects how the child sees themselves and could also affect the child's confidence. So you could see children in school. Sometimes you're not allowed to join a particular friendship group, or there's someone who's always bossing you around, someone who's always humiliating you, someone that you come around and you feel somewhat some kind of fear, or you feel anxious around that person. That would be emotional bullying. Yeah. So this one is just it's not verbal. So the emotional is against verbal. The verbal one is when someone uses an abusive language on you. And with abusive language, it doesn't matter how they've said it, whether they've written it in a text message, they've written it, or they've actually said it to you. Once they are using words on you, that is bullying. My daughter was in a meeting, a Zoom meeting, lesson. She was having lessons actually. And the teacher did not know. So this is a teacher that organizes lessons online. The teacher did not know. Another child started chatting, use the chat, the chat system. You can type in and then communicate with someone. I started using the chat box to communicate with that child, with my daughter in this case, saying to her, oh, you are horrible, a lot of horrible things. That is verbal abuse. And that is why you need to be aware of the forms that this bullying could take so that you identify it. Because sometimes you might think that you are the problem, but no, once someone is coming at you, telling you things about yourself in a mean way, that is a verbal form of bullying. If someone is always making you feel anxious by what they do to you, the groups they don't allow you to join, maybe you want to join a friendship group and they're always pushing you out, or maybe you are in a particular place and anytime they see you, they come around, want to push you around, that is bullying. So once you recognize that, you need to speak up. You need to be able to speak up, speak to someone, tell someone about it. Tell someone at home or in school, because that is the only way you can handle that bullying. If we look at our slide, we have some data from the Office of National Statistics, and it says the most common type of in-person bullying behavior experienced by children was being called names, being sworn at or insulted. So children would call names. Any names you're being called. Are you being called fat, ugly? And are they laughing it away and saying, no, it's only a joke? If you don't think it's a joke, then it is bullying. So you should be able to identify that. Are you also so the next common type of bullying is being left out and excluded from a group or activity on purpose. We see this a lot with children in school. They form groups, they don't want you to come in. Even when you are giving activities in school, they make you to feel out of place. If that is happening, that is bullying and that should be reported. In the extreme case, bullying goes physical. And that's when someone starts hitting you, kicking you, pushing you. If it gets to that, it could hurt you both mentally, emotionally, physically. So you should be speaking to somebody. If someone is also making inappropriate hand gestures to you, so some people would swear with their hands, or even breaking your things, picking your things up, trying to get a reaction from you, then that is bullying. So you should always remember that whenever you see this kind of activities, that person is bullying you, and your answer or your response should never be silence. Don't ever keep quiet in the face of such experience. Studies have shown that boys are more likely to be involved in physical bullying than girls. For example, some research has shown that boys are more likely to be both the perpetrators and victims of physical bullying. So watch out, we're not saying that it's only boys, we're just saying that it is more prevalent among boys. Boys are more likely to be hit than girls, but when you are being hit, remember that you should react, not by hitting back, but by speaking to somebody. Okay? Some research suggests that such differences stem from gender differences in socialization. Boys are socialized to use direct aggression. This comes to maybe what we're going to talk about it later. How we come in. How do we speak to our boy children? How do we speak to our girls' children? What girl children? What do they understand? What do they see themselves, their gender as? We should be very careful of what we socialize boys to become. Boys should be known to express themselves, use your words. I always say the best way you can defend yourself is with words. Open your mouth and talk. Say how you feel. use your words. Desist from being physical, because then your words become insignificant. So you always need to learn to speak, talk about how you are feeling, how that person made you feel. Keep talking about it until something has changed. Do not go physical, because then you will become a bully yourself. There's also cyberbullying. This is, of course, since we're in a social media world, everyone is online. Children these days are now exposed to online activities where bullying can take place, and it's more difficult to even identify who these bullies are. So this is where we also come in to say, parents, be mindful of the exposure your children have with the internet space. But if any child is a victim of cyberbullying, you would know, because you would see all these things. Is it that someone is calling you names, someone is saying inappropriate things to you? That is all bullying. If we look at the data from 2018 to 2022, it shows an increase in cyberbullying, with boys cyberbullying others rising from 11% to 14%, and girls from 7% to 9%. The thing about cyberbullying is because people are able to hide behind anonymity. Because you are not known, you can hide behind a false identity, and you can spew rubbish on others. And it has had impact on children, such as some children have even gone ahead, even adults, to kill themselves because of the bullying they have experienced online. And what I always say to people, if you can write something so mean online, then you should be thinking about the kind of person you are. Because if you are a kind person, whether you are being seen or you're not, or you're able to hide, you would not be writing some kind of messages that, people are able to write and actually send online. So it's all about, it's all about being mindful of your own, being self-aware of yourself, and then be mindful of what you expose yourself to. So do you want me?
Carry on.
Yeah. So of course we can understand why there's an increased number in cyberbullying, because there's more activity online, and there's more bullying from boys than girls, but then the difference is not much. So girls are as bullied as much as boys are. And then with teenagers, adolescents, the more time you spend online, the more likely it is that you would encounter such situations. And it also means that we need interventions to prevent our children, both from educators, from parents. I'm sure we're mostly here as parents. You need to step in to be able to make sure that our children are safe online, that they understand how to use the internet safely to prevent themselves from exposure to bullying. There's also sexual bullying, which is a form of sexual harassment. When people touch you in inappropriate areas, nobody should be hitting you in your private areas. Nobody should be touching you, grabbing you there. If they do, that is bullying. And there's this thing about sharing photos, inappropriate photos online. You should never, ever, ever be caught.
Can I give an example of one of the young persons that I worked with a while ago, a 13-year-old. She had started sharing her images, with her. There are about two of them actually. So this was going on for a long time. So she shared her sexual images with her supposed boyfriend that she met online. And because then that developed into, can you show me, show me something that she did, or can you show me this? And then she's, gradually, and then that kind of exploded to the point where this child, unfortunately, started being, what would I say, coerced into meeting up somewhere if otherwise that image will be shared on social media. And that's all from Snapchat, friendship, and then her account was hacked. The police were involved. And so that's one aspect. It kind of created a huge impact on her mental health, to the extent that she said it's self-harming because she was so worried about someone that she thought she trusted could, go ahead to betray her to that aspect, to that level. And then there was also another young person who had started receiving, between herself and her girlfriends, they were sharing media, and then they fell out. And then the girls now said, yes, okay, we got all this on you, we will share it. Because they all belong to the same Snapchat, group. So, and that became an issue. The police got involved as well, because obviously as social workers, when we see or hear such, safeguarding concerns or issues, just to protect that child, we will be reporting that to the police, and the police will confiscate the phone and search other things there. And then, of course, there would be, or there have been instances where you as a young person, or have been or would have been involved with older men on social media. And this is all about, starts from the cyber, bullying that we're talking about. It could generate from a simple somebody, pretending to be a younger person, to be a younger somebody who is the same age as you, 15, underage, requesting an image of you. Please do not. And this is why we also encourage parents to be mindful of what your children watch on social media, online. Don't be ashamed. They are your children. Don't feel embarrassed to ask your child, can I see what you're watching? Your child could not be bigger than you in any way. So you have that control. Do not allow that control to be removed from you, to be taken from you by the system. The same system will be the same system that will remove your child from you if your child, is deemed to be at risk of harm, of self-harm, or whatever harm it is. So yeah. So those are the types. I think we finished on the types now.
Yeah. Finish on the
So
type.
does anybody have anything to add on the types? And then if you need to.
Can I just quickly add?
Yeah.
I have a young adolescent child who I'm working with, and the concerns are basically around her cyber activities. And while speaking to her, she's online meeting a lot of strangers, communicating with people she's never met before, and then meeting them in person. And I realized when I spoke to her, she was like, oh, this is how we meet people these days. Why should we not be speaking to people online? So there is something about the current generation feeling that the only way they meet people is online and exposing themselves to that danger. So we should, as much as we know that online activities, that are children involved in online activities, it's also good to allow them understand that we're in a real world and you can actually meet people in real world rather than relying on the internet. This, sitting at home, chatting with people all day and then arranging to meet them up. And she's ended up meeting people who have introduced her to county lines, every vice negative vice you can think of. It all started from cyber, from the internet. Yeah, so let us be mindful that our children could believe that the only way they meet people is online. That is the age that we are in now.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we now move on to experience of experiencing that's just the same types and other things that we're talking about, the impact. So these are the impacts. I think we need to switch things around a little bit. We talk about impact, and then we now invite Chime. Chime, we'll invite you shortly. Yeah, I will stop the slide while we're talking about that, we just name the impacts, and then we ask questions at this point before Chime comes in. Does anybody have anything any questions at this point while we so that we don't keep talking and talking? Any questions? Okay. Contributions? We can't see your hand if you're raising up your hand. Let me do. Okay. You can unmute yourself and talk. Okay, I think we probably have to finish and then question time. Okay. So these are the impacts of so the impacts are children who face bullying. They experience a range of mental health issues as an adult, including suicidal ideation. We see that most of them are usually not in education. They earn less money. They become obese, particularly in women. And what happens is most of the ladies who are obese had experienced bullying in their childhood. They go into comfort eating. They just eat anything. They drink. They neglect themselves. They become, self-neglecting, self-harming. There's so many things. And you see them blowing, plummeting, and the next thing is medication. So we go into that in a minute. So they wouldn't gain qualification. They won't, the qualifications here, there'll be some kind of negative impact on their educational attendance. Their attendance will be so poor, and that will impact on their grades. Whilst others are achieving, they will be absconding from school, truanting, and that will impact on their ability to study and focus in class. They tend not to be in stable relationships because they don't trust themselves. That confidence is no longer there because they see every adult, everybody, everyone around them, every person around them as bullying, and because of the lack of confidence. Okay, so the next slide. So the research, we looked at some of the research studies. King's College, London research from 2015 shows that substantial long-term effect of being bullied, especially if the individuals fall into a frequently bullied category, the categories that we mentioned earlier, where people were most likely to. That's what we've mentioned there. Yeah, so that's where this information comes from. And they said they will when someone doesn't earn money, what happens? That's because such an individual has not gained any qualification or any skills at all, because they were dealing with trying to deal with the many times that they've been bullied, or they themselves have been particularly involved themselves in bullying behaviors or antisocial behaviors. A lot of young people that we support, we get letters and information and calls from the school regularly that they haven't been in school. They will definitely dress up to go to school, go to college, or they stop at the gates and they walk away because they are worried, constantly worried about facing the same people who are bullying them at school. Okay, so that's that. So more statistics. They will miss school. We talked about school, missing school. This is from the National Center for Social Research. In NACSEN, it says they found out that at any time, over 16,000 young people aged between 11 and 15 are missing education, primarily due to bullying. Imagine that, 16,000 young people, 16,000. And they are very much likely to be excluded from education. We've seen a lot of young people whose parents have received, parents here, you would testify to that. Some parents, your child may have received letters or been called into school or parents' meetings to discuss your child's behavior. And where does this come from? You ask yourself, So it's also found that children that were bullied daily were 3 times more likely to be excluded from school than those that were not bullied. Okay, so we have what we call the in-person bullying. And that's the table. So see the percentage there. Just over a third of children experience at least one type of in-person bullying behavior. So these are the children, proportional of children aged 10 to 15 years who experience in-person bullying, online bullying. This is a year by type of bullying behavior. This has come from the England and Wales year ending 2023. And you see the 96, 40%. And the girls, look at the girls, that are the girls, there's no difference. See the girls here, and then the boys. So all we're saying here is, see the in-person bullying, the online bullying is 20%, and then the in-person bullying is higher. Yeah. So, so we need to be very careful and then treat our children, please. Everything comes from the home environment, and some also stem from learned behavior from peers. So impact of bullying continues. So this is around child protection policy. So I'll ask Wendy, please come in here. This is your field. I'm no longer in children's services. I'll push it over to you. I'm not doing adults. So it's, yeah. So yeah. Please step in.
Okay. So we see a lot of children who have been bullied being impacted in various ways. It's all about their mental health, it just makes them have very poor mental health and then manifests in different ways. In the UK, we have the Child Protection Act, which aims to safeguard children, especially in educational settings, by establishing guidelines that prevent and address bullying and abuse. So bullying and abuse in our institutions, in our schools and colleges is discouraged. If a child is being bullied, it is taken very seriously because we know that it can lead to various impacts. It could lead to eating disorders. There are children who cannot eat food just because of how anxious they are. It could lead to substance misuse. It could lead to serious lasting effects, both on the victim and the perpetrator. It could even be lasting into their adult lives. We call it adverse childhood experiences, ACEs. Bullying can last a whole lifetime, starting from childhood, because it's a traumatic experience for children when they are being bullied. It could result in low self-esteem. I've had a child who wanted to kill himself and on the way to school jumped into a moving vehicle just because he did not want to get to school. That is how bad bullying is. This is how it affects our children. So it is not something that should be overlooked at all. It is something that we need to identify and work with the child to overcome. It is very serious. It cannot be overlooked. It could lead to decreased academic performance, like Madonna had mentioned earlier. Children missing school, missing episodes. We have them with children who are being bullied. You have they go missing. You find them in 4 hours away from home. Just because they don't want to face their bullies, just because they feel like the environment is too, it's not suitable, it's not conducive for them, despite the fact that we have these safeguards towards bullying. We still have bullies that feel not supported enough. And this is why they resort to other measures. And that's where we come in as parents, as guardians, because any child that is being bullied needs our support. It also leads to self-harm. I've talked about suicidal thoughts, a child who tried to kill himself. I've had children who've tried to cut themselves, just to get out of this bullying. Yeah. So I mean, bullying there's never a positive impact for bullying. It could cause personality disorder, post-traumatic disorder, even sleep disorder. They could stay awake all night just because of how anxious these children are about going into school and facing their bullies. So that is, in a nutshell, that is what the impact of bullying is on our children. When we have children that come that are victims of bullying, we try to work with the school to address it. We work with the school, we work with the parent of both the person, the perpetrator and the victim, because children who are perpetrators of bullying are also bereft of the knowledge of the impact of their actions. So we work with them to understand why they should not be behaving in the way that they behave. We also support the parents. We signpost them to organizations that could help them understand how to support their children better. There are various parenting support groups that would help you even identify when your child is being bullied, because that's another thing. You could live with a child. We've seen situations of children that just kill themselves and the parent is like, what, why, when, how? They are completely oblivious of what the child has been going through under their roof. So even as parents, we need to equip ourselves with the knowledge, the understanding of bullying, so that we can identify, because one of the greatest ways that bullies thrive is in silence. We can identify that when your child is silent, it might not just be because the child, he or she is just a quiet child. No. You should be able to identify when this silence is unusual and ask the questions, and teach our children also to be assertive, to be able to speak up, especially children from our background and our culture, where we would normally want to shut children down. We think that, oh, you should not speak when I speak. When I speak, you have to listen. As children, sometimes they do not even know the settings where to apply that, which is why we have to be very careful and be very supportive of our children in expressing themselves, allowing them to speak. Let them speak their mind. It is not disrespectful. From the culture we come from, if a child tells you how they feel, they have disrespected you. But no, we should unlearn and relearn, because when a child is telling you how they feel, they are crying for help. So you should be able to identify it and work with that child to overcome whatever situation, so that you don't have all these issues. It starts from one bullying experience that goes unresolved, and then the chain continues and it spirals into something that could become a lifelong condition. And we do not want our children not employable, not being in education. We want our children, or not being in training. We want our children to be achievers, and high achievers at that, because where we come from, we promote we want our children to be high achievers. So everything about bullying should be addressed with the right resources, the right knowledge, the right way to go about it. Speak to the school. Speak to the authorities wherever your child is being bullied. Stand up for them and support them. Yeah, thank you, Madonna.
So at this point, I'm going to be calling in, welcoming Chime, who is from the mentor perspective, so that he can then give us. Chime, I'll start sharing I know you have your slide. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Thank you, Madonna. Thank you, Wendy.
Where are you? Let me find.
And thank you, parents, for your time, for bringing your kids to this event. I'm going to highlight the impacts of bullying uh, to the mental health of of victims. Um, Typically, bullying is dismissed as a part of growing up. In most cases, that's not the way to look at it. It's a terrible way of assessing it. In fact, bullying can leave a lot of lasting scars on a person, as well as adversely affect their mental health. I'm just going to walk through uh some of the common um impacts of bullying, uh, as well as leading it up to the most serious impacts. And the reason support is very important, especially early support. Um, one of the I'm going to address them in clusters as one of the impacts of bullying to mental health is about self-image and self-worth. In this case, victims of bullying tend to present with signs of eating disorder. Um, if someone is constantly being criticized about their appearance or their weight, they tend to become extremely conscious of that factor, and that will affect how they react to food or how they behave about food. They tend to start skipping meals or start trying to purge themselves of food, and in a case they might develop eating disorders like anorexia nervosa or bulimia because of their consciousness of their self-image or how they present. Um, it also comes into low self-esteem. If someone feels that their presentation is not what is generally acceptable by the people, it tends to affect the way they see themselves and affects their confidence and how they think people perceive them. Their confidence level drops a bit. Um, and this kind of impacts don't just end in childhood. It might follow the person up to adulthood and cause, adverse impacts on how their actualization or where they eventually the kind of success they will achieve or not achieve in their lives. Also, there are a lot of fear-based conditions like anxiety. For the young person, for young people, they might tend to experience panic attacks, like when they talked about people coming, leaving their house, coming to school, and they're not able to cross the school gate to go into school because they have extreme fear of reliving that experience of bullying over and over again. And they might the child might feel at age at always avoid schools and present with very I'll call it adverse ways to adapt to the bullying they are going through. In fact, in some cases, they might develop PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and be having nightmares, have flashbacks, and sometimes feel numb emotionally, or just even the general feeling of being unsafe um over a long time can impact on the child's mental health or an adult in any case. Over time, bullying might tend to take emotional and physical toll on a person. They might present with signs of depression or um if feeling in that cycle of hopelessness. They might be demotivated, fatigued, and in some cases present with self-harm or suicidal ideation. That's it. In a case, a cry for help, which if it's not still addressed, can lead to other a cycle of adverse adjustments or ways to reach out to for parents to help or for adults to help. So that's where parents in a case have to always watch out for these factors, kind of create that dynamic with your children so that they're able to come back and forth with you and provide enough room for them to present their concerns, which basically make you their safe space where they can present the concerns they have, or at least report concerns if they feel they are being bullied. Another impact on mental health that bullying has in our young people is they might turn to adverse coping strategies over time. They might look to some things like substance misuse, or they might turn to alcohol or drugs, because in an effort to avoid bullying, they might start mixing with the wrong crowd or involve themselves in behaviors that they feel is safe to make them, make them or their units resistance to the bullying over time. So and with adverse coping strategies like this that are not very maladaptive coping strategies in this way, the result is never something good. Over time, they might just it might just be a quick fix to a problem that deserves more kind of organized and professional support. And it might just turn to a child having terrible ways of coping with the problems. In finally, what I'll say is that for parents, for young people listening, bullying is not a phase of life. It has adverse effects on the development of a child. So as parents, we are supposed to provide an avenue for children to report bullying early as well, so that support can be provided to them to reduce any adverse impacts of bullying. There any questions on that, please? And say again.
No, sorry.
I want to add one thing. Wendy has said it, but I noted it down as one of the things I'm going to highlight as well.
Okay.
I'm a first generation immigrant, obviously, and I'm sure a lot of parents here and the organizers are from that group as well. There's been difference in how we have been brought up and how you expected to react or how you expected to talk to your parents, but it's a different environment here. It's a different I'll say a totally different experience. So parents are reminded to always provide that room for your children to report issues back to you, because if that is not the case, if your children believe that you're not supposed to talk back to adults, they might be victims of bullying from adults, and they will not be able to see that as a problem enough to report to you, so they don't get the support they need. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chime.
Right, thank you.
Thank you so much. He's spoken to us from the mental health perspective. And like we said at the start of this program, we highlighted that there are loads of things to talk about bullying and antisocial behavior. We haven't covered, and we cannot really cover everything at one sitting. So let's look at another thing. We have another slide coming in. So that's part of what Chime has just covered. Sleep disorder as well. If you notice that your child is waking up intermittently or spending more time online, knock on his or her door. Please open the door, find out what is going on behind the duvets, to find the covers, find out, talk to your child, and deal with that problem there and there. I saw something this afternoon on the YouTube. It says bullying can also come from parents. How does that happen? So we're talking about culture. So how many parents here would tell your child, you ridicule that child like you are nobody, you are too fat, you are this, you are that, shut up, keep quiet, I'm talking. That I remember when we had the summer party, I asked the children, how do your parents speak to you when they're angry? And seriously, I was so I know that that's the way it is, but these children, a lot of them said the same thing. Can I have a child demonstrating to us how their parents speak to them? One said, I'll just use a name, Bieneba, shut up your mouth. The way Africans will react to situations. And they demonstrated that. They said it in such a way that it kind of resonated to our childhood, how we're growing up when we grew up back in Africa. And please, I beg you, parents, as much as we're trying to impact education, values, and all, allow your children to have a voice. Having that voice in a respectable way, teaching them how to comport themselves, speak appropriately, not shouting, because they shout. Whatever they learn from you is what they're going to replicate outside. Children learn they learned behavior, copying, imitation. That's how they learn. And then a child can be threatened or humiliated. I've seen parents who humiliate their children. That's part of bullying. You're bullying that child. In Nigeria or in African culture, we may not see it as bullying. We just say, oh, I'm trying to teach that child. Oh, what does he know? But it is registering mentally in that child's mind. Please, and this will also risk leaving the child within 44, they say is a 64% higher chances of this child developing mental health challenges as an adult. 64%. Imagine that. As an adult, that is huge. For that child growing up to be told by a parent that, don't know what you're doing, you're nobody. I can't use all those languages, but you know what I'm talking about, those negative words. So if you're such a person, start using positive affirmations on your child. Go on YouTube. There are so many resources, a lot of resources out there that you can tap into on how to be a good parent. It doesn't take away your role as a parent. Rather, it's to enhance your parenting skills. Okay, so let me see what else we've got here, and then we go into question and answers. So this is from a lady called Kieran Leons. He said he's the service head for Childline and NSPCC. And she says that they think that I said I'll just quote what is written so I don't go missing it. So we think we know everything there is to know about our children. Listen to this. So it can be upsetting to find out that your child might be bullying someone else. How embarrassing can that be? Bullying can be caused by a range of factors. So now, if you as a parent receives a letter from a school, from a child's school, stating that your child has been bullying other children, how do you feel? How would you feel? Number one, the first thing is that, oh my goodness, I haven't taught my child to be like this. I'll tell you a story. A very close friend of mine, he's an African. The school called him when they had 3 daughters. They were all in one school. The school called him, Mr. So-and-so, please, can you come to the school? Your child is being disrespectful to the teacher. He said, I said, okay, I'm on my way. He marched straight to the school. And then he said, I will just use a name. I'm not going to just, where's X? He marched, and then they brought X out. He slapped X 1, 2, in the presence of the school, of the teachers. And the head teacher was like, oh no, Mr. This, please don't. We don't accommodate, physical this in this school. This is not good. And this, as an African man, he said, you called me to come to the school to take my child home because she's been dismissed. I said to the child, did I teach you to be disrespectful to teachers? He said, no, Daddy. I said, okay. Now, where did you get that from? I said, Daddy, I'm sorry. And the teacher said, please come into the class. Come to the office. Let's talk about this. He pulled him straight to the classroom, to the office. And the next thing is, oh, you shouldn't have done that. Then the young man said, if you cannot discipline my child, I brought my child here to be disciplined, and I never taught her to, all this behavior. Definitely she learned it from here. So I am going to be removing my child from this school since you cannot discipline her. So what would you want me to do? To take her home, not for her to go to school? But this is behavior. Anyway, they went on and on and on. And in the end, he said, in Africa, a child does not talk over a teacher. And to tell you the truth, that's the truth, seriously. A child wouldn't talk over a teacher that is that disciplined. And the teacher said, okay, for that reason, I will be inviting you to our parents' evenings to give a talk to other parents on how to discipline, not really discipline, on behaviors. And from there on, this parent was, constantly going to that school to give healthy, I call it healthy education to parents about values. And that will take us now to the next topic about values. So it's not on this slide, but I'll just finish within this. So bullying can be caused by a range of factors. Yeah, from poor mental health and low self-esteem to harmful home environments. So harmful home environment, what does that entail? We talk about parents shouting over each other, domestic violence. We've discussed domestic violence on this platform some time ago, and the impact on children, learning all this behavior from parents. And you think that your child is not listening, even if you shut your door. Remember that the buildings we have in the UK, in this part of the world, the walls are not, they're not brick walls. Some buildings, they are all, you can hear through, and all the noises are happening. So please, I beg you, if you must have an argument with your wife, with your partner, please, your husband, be calm, because your children are listening. If you don't, you are building another aggressive punch box out there for the future. So let us be careful on what we do around our children, and teach them how to respect and value others. While we would never condone bullying, it's important to understand why people bully. Karen has given us his expert tips on what to do if your children has been accused of bullying. Children to learn how to show empathy, love, kindness to your children. They have loads of love, kindness, gratitude, support. There are loads of them. We have to talk about them in a minute. So your child, when from the early stages of a child's life, the first thing you do is to start teaching them how to say, I am sorry, how to show love, how to hug, feelings. And those feelings come from the emotions, sharing emotions, talking to your child, talking to a parent. Oh, mommy, I'm sorry I did this. And they say, oh, okay, I'm sorry, darling. Don't do it again. Mommy understands why you did that, but next time don't do. Give an explanation, a reason for correcting a child for a bad behavior. A failure to do that, that child will grow up, because I've been to so many parents, so many families that say, oh, don't mind them, you're not children of this age. What are you growing? You're growing a fruit, a seed that will turn around to bully you as a parent in time to come. So please, I beg you, parents, this is very serious. A lot of children, a friend of mine, the daughter was bullied and she had a mental health breakdown for a year. She lost education for 1 year, dealing with suicidal ideation, mental health crisis. This is a very, and in the UK, there's a law against bullying. The police do not take lightly to any child who has caused any other child, harm. I've had parents have come to me to address this. Their children have been, punched in the eyes, with swollen eyes, with body, pains. And there's so many things that happens out there in our schools. Knife crimes, people, stabbing others. And it starts from little things. So if you, as a child, as a young person, have been asked to go and do something by an adult, another young person, please do not. Please, parents, tell your children. Listen to the news. My friend's son was killed, was stabbed to death, was actually shot to death. But that started from, from his secondary school stages. He was killed in front of his house, in front of his younger brother. Tell me, imagine, the gang went to his house and shot at him. So we can't overemphasize. I mean, I'm being very emotional about this because I've seen the impact on young people and on parents who cry all the time. Please. So we're now going to give some time for everybody to share their own views, experiences, or whatever. So the floor is open. Thank you all for this. So the next 15, 20 minutes will be question and answers. Let me remove myself. Thank you. Unmute yourselves.
Good afternoon, or should I say evening, everybody. It's Hygienus here. Hygiene.
Hi, Hygiene.
Thank you.
Hygiene.
Thank you, our wonderful presenters. I think you have really, what your presentation has really illuminated us. Because as parents, we are immigrants. We came here. We've had a different upbringing from the one we're trying to teach our children. And sometimes we can be a little bit heavy-handed, in how we discipline or raise our children. And because of the heavy-handedness, the kids might feel scared to open up to us. They would rather open up to maybe their friends than to us, who are their parents. So thank you for this presentation. For me personally, it has really given me a lot of insight, especially the impact it has on their mental health. I work in mental health. I'm currently doing a degree in mental health. And just a few weeks ago, where we are coming from, there are a whole lot of sexual abuses back home. But as you know, we don't talk about it, especially, people from our communities. We don't really talk about it. Some weeks ago, a gentleman came in expressing suicidal ideation because he had tried to kill himself. And what happened is quite shocking. He was sexually abusing his own grandchild, 13-year-old. Because when I was talking to him, he said the daughter was doing gymnastics or some sort of sports and was asking for a massage. And the man was, I can't really say what he was doing in the presence of the young kids, but it was quite horrifying that somebody who is meant to protect your own grandchild, you could do that. And he said to me, the child had a shower, came out of the shower, wasn't wearing anything, and took on or opened her dressing gown. I was asking for a massage. The information we have received here is like a goal, because it tells us to open up to our kids. Try and find out from your kids, like my kids here. Sometimes, children here, sometimes when they start getting to a certain age, they start moving away from their parents. They want to lock themselves in their rooms and watch television. And what I tell them, not watch television, be on the iPad. They can be on the iPad for only God knows how long. Like my little one is 9. I will tell her, come and we'll do it in the lounge. And why I'm doing that is because I want to really keep an eye on what she's doing. Sometimes, without her even noticing, I'll try and, look to see what she's watching. She actually watching something that is appropriate for her age. So once again, thank you. I have taken lots of information from what you guys have really presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Haji. Yeah, it's important, and I'm glad that the children are listening, and the floor is open for any of the young persons also who would like to share their experiences. So feel free, moms, dads, please encourage them to feel free to share their own experiences. It might not be you, it happened to maybe your friends or anybody. Yeah. Okay. So if you, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you so much, Madonna, and all that have spoken today. It has really opened up my eyes to a lot of things, because I would say we had the same experience, yeah, in my son's school. He was so abused, and I can say to you, emotionally, we are still healing from the impact. It's not a good thing, and it's not what every parent should want to experience, because we had it really, really rough when it happened. Because even from the school, some of the schools, you don't even get so much insight of what the bullying is and what the children they face. I saw my son deteriorating. He really deteriorated, during the time when he was being abused. And with this kind of teaching, oh my God, thank you. So we cannot thank you enough, because we've really known, certain things that we'll have to put in place for things like this, to help each other. We don't pray for this to happen again, but you've created an awareness for us to learn on what to do in case of anything like this to happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Blessing.
Thank
Thank you. That's Blessing. Thank you so much
Thank you so
for
much.
sharing that. Thank you. Yeah. All right. Any more?
Yes, hi. Ify here, if you want to.
Okay, hi, Ify.
Hi, Sister Madonna. Well, thank you so much for you and the other speakers, and for the it's quite an enlightening session.
If you show your face a bit, you're not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
everybody.
So it's been a really great one. I've learned a lot, especially the one that actually jumped at me is, that like there's a thin line between discipline and actually parents bullying their children. So we need to actually, it's a kind of a delicate balancing act. Know when to, for example, like with my 2 girls, sometimes when they are saying some stuff, like talking back when I'm trying to, have a word with them because of what they did wrong. Kaima is 13, going on 14 in September. She's at that age now where she's now forming her own opinions, and she has a lot of questions. And when I say something, sometimes she wants to, ask questions, but sometimes might come across as not challenging me. And I try to in a cool and level-headed way, try to get her to see my reasons. But she's kind of coming at me with from the point of oh no, mommy, I think this is right. I think I have the right to do this. And sometimes I have to be quiet. I'm trying to talk to you. Don't just say anything back at me for the sake of saying something. just articulate a bit to understand what I'm saying. So at that point, would you call it trying to shut her up or trying to bully her, or you're just trying to get her to stay quiet and listen? Yeah.
Anyone can respond to this, but for me, I think it's about, like you said, the balance and how we. Okay, I'll give you two scenarios. Mommy, can I go out today? Or mommy, I'm going out with my friends. Oh, shut up! You're not going anywhere. Sit down here. Oh, my darling, I think it's late. Okay, where are you going? You see the tone? So there are two different, so that child is not seeing you as not, listening to them or respecting their own views. You can get things done or said to your children in a way that it does not represent emotional abuse. Because in children's services, a young person came one day and said, I think my mom is emotionally abusing me. I said, really? What do you mean? And they highlighted. And to me, I said, yeah, that's correct.
Hmm.
But I had to sit that child down to say, listen, okay, this is where your mom is, from the perspective your mom is coming from. Can you listen to your mom? And they will now go and then start doing some piece of work, direct always with the parent to then highlight. And if you started giving your child some ropes from the early stages of that child's life, and when the child gets to age 13, you want to start disciplining that child, it's not going to work because you already handed down bad parenting.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that
Yeah,
bad parenting the foundation had been laid. But you can't then start, it's like in layers, isn't it? So
yeah.
if you want to remove, you have to keep fleshing out those layers, the bone, to get to the bottom of it. So we're doing it the other way around. Chichime or Wendy, you want to come in here as well, step in.
Yeah, you've said most of it, Madonna. At a point, you trust yourself to be a good parent. Every parent, you've not gone through this journey before. You are just learning on the job for the most part. So, but you do the best you can do because someone once told me that your parents are the only people that are going to, love you no matter what and pray for you to be better than them. That's the truth. So you are forming your biases are there, but you are always going to want the best for your children. You're not perfect. You're not going to get everything right, but you have to at some point do your best so that when the child becomes old enough to start forming their opinion, you would have done enough work, enough good work to trust the work you've done to be manifested in the child. If you have spent the early years of the child development giving them the best training, going through, getting insight, researching things that you don't know, doing your best, showing, with love, you should trust that the training you've provided will manifest into something good. So you have to start creating the room for your training to manifest, for the person you train to be able to form good opinions, or at least opinions that you can still help them shape as they go on. But you're going to have to trust yourself because most of the things you're doing in good faith and to the best of your ability because of the kind of unconditional love you have for your kids. So it goes to trusting yourself that the training you have impacted is working. It's like you're going to have to, trust yourself in this case for the child to move on and form good opinions. But you should always be available to provide that guidance through the opinions they are forming.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd just like to add.
Wendy.
Yeah, okay. Okay, let me add. Yeah, it's just to throw more support what Madonna and
Chime.
may have to say. Yeah. Yeah. It's a constant balancing act with your child, and it depends on the foundation that you have laid with that child. then you and that child will have an understanding of how things work in your house. My oldest is 16, and he showed me a video online. And this girl, her dad took her phone, a 13-year-old. She did something and her dad took her phone. And she went out with an axe and started destroying his car. And my son found it so absurd that he actually came to show it to me. So that shows that he knows. In fact, that is, to him, is like, that girl needs serious problem. There's someone else that will see that thing and be like, why did dad take the phone away? So it all starts from the foundation that you lay with your children. Pay attention to their feelings. Make sure that you are listening to them and compromising to an extent. When I'll give an example again. The first time my son was he was about, first time in secondary school, about 11, and he's an August baby. So he's always the youngest in his class. When he was 11, he wanted to go to the cinema with his friends. First child, always been under your wing. You've always gone everywhere with him. My instinct was like, no. In fact, I said no the first time. And I got that question, why? You know, because they want to know why.
Yeah.
And why? Why? The truth is why? Because I was scared of letting him leave my protective wings, the cocoon I had put him in. And every parent will experience that, definitely. But then when it came around the second time, I had to think of, okay, yes, this boy is growing. I need to give him some space. Okay, how do we talk about what do we do to make sure that I am not worried or I am less worried when you're out on your own? So we sat down and we agreed some rules. I said, who are you going with? I'm going with this person. I'm going with this person. Okay, I know these people. What are you going to do? How are you going to? So I said, okay, you're going to get the bus from here into town center, get your popcorn and whatever, straight to the cinema, see your movie and come back home. Nothing else. And with that understanding, I said, okay, go. And you keep to it. Once you get to town, call me. Once you get to here, call me. You know, so I was able to put those safety measures that put my fears at rest and also allowed him to be able to be himself, you know, go out with his friends, just like his mates too. There's a lot out there. And as parents, as much as we want to be protective, we need to choose our battles. There are still times I say no, and my no is no, and you don't need to understand why, because maybe, you know, we can't communicate, but it's not all the time. If your child knows that once I come to mom is a flat no, it's always a no, then they won't build that relationship. But if you're able to communicate, validate their emotions, you're able to say, okay, on this occasion, yes, you can go. Why not? But however, on this occasion, actually, no, because this. We don't like to explain ourselves as parents. We feel, oh, you know, you should listen. But because that child is looking for logic, basically.
Yeah.
And you want that child to be able to reason, you know, have that deductive reasoning, be able to express themselves when they go out. Let it start at home. Let them tell you why. Sometimes my child wants to do something and I make them give me a reason, defend that thing you want to see, go and tell me why. And by the time they come and present their case, I'll say, oh yeah, go on. I like the way you presented that, you know? So you're just giving them that avenue, that positive avenue to be able to speak to. And one thing we need to know as parents also is that we should let our children know that we love them unconditionally.
Yeah.
Let them know that if you go out and you mess up, call me. Call me. You know, let them not feel like, oh, I don't have anybody to think of. Just make sure that they are confident enough to say, I know I have done something wrong, but I can call my mom, I can call my dad, and they can be a shoulder for me to rest on. So it's all about, just like we've said, that foundation. You can't just wake up at 13 and take your child's phone. She will go outside and destroy your car. Yeah, so that's my my take on that.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you very much. Any more questions?
you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Wendy.
My
Well
daughter has a
explained.
question. Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
Okay. My name is Spinoza, and
Okay.
Mommy, can you
Hello, my name is Shanaza and I'm 13, about to turn 14 in September, and I have a question for you, Madonna.
Okay.
Bullying can be
Specifically, Madonna. Okay.
can bullying be a form of discrimination as well?
Bullying?
It can be a form of discrimination, like for
Yes.
example, race and religion, or any
Yes.
sort of things.
Yeah.
Homophobia, like being homophobic towards LGBT people.
Absolutely. We have things like anti-discriminatory behavior. When someone discriminates against you because of your color, race, your orientation, your religious background, whatever it is, that is bullying. And it starts by, okay, I've got someone that if you have friends that cover their hair, that veil themselves because of their religion, some of these young people tend to be bullied. If you are such a child who, I'm a Catholic, and they see me, sometimes I make the sign of the cross, and then someone say, oh, she's always praying. That's bullying. And then say it in such a way that, they might say it in such a way that it might make me feel down or feel low, or lose my worth, and I'll start thinking like, oh, actually, I think I'll start braiding my hair. I'll start doing this. Or someone will say, why are you braiding your hair? Your hair is thick. Of course, your hair is thick because you're an African. And you start asking your mom, can I straighten my hair to be like, who put that thought into your mind? That's stems from bullying, isn't it? So all these are they are all discriminations against what you are, against you as a person. Yeah. So that's what, and then the feelings that impacts on you, that's what makes it more gruesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Do you have any friends that have experienced such before?
I'll probably say about yes, sometimes, because there's my friend at school, her feet were feeling uncomfortable while she was sitting next to me in class, so she was going to fix it. So she took off her shoe, yeah, and she was fixing her like around her socks because it was hurting. And then there was this girl next to her, and she was like ill and giving her a reaction, which sounded rude. And then she told the teacher, but her feet were stinking, and she was making a false accusation of her taking off her shoes and leaving her socks out, and she could smell it, and she was telling it in front of the class, which was humiliating and also really embarrassing and shocking.
Oh, that's sad. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then okay, thank you so much for sharing that. That's really, very sad to hear. Yeah. And then Wendy will be looking at support and strategies and resources out there for parents. So that's the next stage. And if you have any questions for others that haven't asked questions, so prepare your questions. Oh, okay. Who has a question?
My name is Special Ngoka.
Okay, 1 second. Let me okay. Go on, my dear. What's your name again?
Special Ngoka. I want to ask a question about what will the Igbo community do to support children that are being bullied?
Right. That's what we're doing here. So what we do normally for I am a social worker. Yeah. I am the matron for the Igbo community group. So what normally when parents have problems, their children have problems, they come to me through the group. So we all have a group that they report, and then they come to me, they kind of talk about it, and I have that children whose parents are brought to my house, and I can visit them as well. We do some work with these children within the community to assist them, and then give them like some sort of tools that will help them to let's support the emotions and other things and how to manage that. Okay? Is that all right? So if you feel that you're being bullied, the first thing you do, what do you do?
The first thing you do is either report to a teacher
Okay,
or
and
a
then
parent.
your parents. That's good. All right. Does that answer your question? Did I answer you well?
Yes, I have another question.
Okay, go on, darling.
How do you avoid being bullied and stop it?
Okay, how do you do about? Okay, can someone else answer this question? Wendy?
That's a very good question. How do
Yes.
you avoid it? To a large extent, it doesn't really lie with you to avoid it, because we live in a very unpredictable and unkind world where we cannot really predict how we will be treated. But what we can do is prepare ourselves for how we will react when we are bullied. So we cannot truly prepare or say stop bullying, but what we are doing here is giving you the knowledge and the information you need to be able to identify when you are being bullied and to be able to take steps to stop it. So, like what we've said, you said you speak to your teacher, you speak to your adults. That is what we can do. Prepare you for when that happens. But we cannot stop it because of the way the world is. We have children from different backgrounds, different upbringing. You find yourself in a school environment. Not everyone has been well trained. People are even ignorant. So we cannot stop it, but we can encourage people. Schools have channels where they speak to children about bullying, against bullying. So in your schools, you will have sessions where you are taught about things that should not be going on. People are made aware, there's awareness on how to behave, to be respectful, to treat people respectfully, respect their culture, respect their values. They will teach you all of that in school. But we do know that it's not everybody that takes that on board. So just think about how you would handle a situation where you are being bullied, which is what we are here for, to hand you that information, those resources, so that you know what to do when you are faced with such circumstance. Okay?
Okay.
So yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes. I
Okay.
have a final question.
Okay.
Can I be a voice against bullying in my community?
Wow. Absolutely, you can. And then I think that this has look at that. It's triggered something now in my mind, creating the youth club within the Igbo community. I may be a champion for that. How about that?
Wow.
Good, excellent. So I'll be speaking to the president of the community, of the Igbo community, yeah, because we have a lot of things packaged that we're planning for the community, and you've actually triggered that now. That's amazing. Well done. Thank you for that, Favour.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have
Yeah.
a question as well.
Okay. Who is that?
My name is Chinanu Ekbede, and
Okay. Hold on, Chined. Hold on. Let me.
Jason. They know you as Jason, yeah?
Jason, Chined. Oh, is that Jason?
Yes, that's me.
That's you.
I am 13, and I'd like to direct this question to Auntie Wendy.
Okay.
And my question is, how long does the person tease you for it to become bullying?
Hold on.
That's a good question. How long? There's no prescribed time scale for it to become bullying. It could be bullying from the first day. It is all about you. How do you feel about what somebody is saying to you? That is what determines if it is bullying. So there's no time frame. If somebody is saying to you, oh, your hair is somehow, and you feel you feel less of yourself because of that, that is bullying. So you should be addressing it as soon as it is said to you or done to you. If someone is hitting you, that is bullying. There is no time scale. Yes, bullying sometimes would have to occur a number of times, but in certain situations, maybe if it's like emotional, you know, you need some time to realize that this person always does this when you come around them. Maybe if it's someone that always makes hand gestures, they might do it the first time and you say, oh, okay, maybe you're not sure, and they do it the second time, then you become sure. But then there's no time scale. So think about yourself. Think about how you feel about what somebody is doing to you. Let that guide you, because the moment you feel uncomfortable, the moment you feel like your self-worth is being diminished, the moment you feel less confident than you normally are, that is bullying. And that can happen the first time you meet somebody, the first time someone speaks to you, the way and manner they speak to you. There is no time frame. So just be alert. Remember all we've taught you today. And don't give excuses. If someone has said something that makes you feel uncomfortable, that diminishes your self-worth, speak up. Speak up for yourself so that they know that it is incorrect, inappropriate. You know, don't say, oh, I have to wait for it to happen 10 times. No, there's no such time frame. Yeah. So be guided by how you feel. Be guided by the fact that we want you to be, you know, to be a child that is confident in herself, in her heritage, in your strength, in yourself. So if anybody's making you feel less of yourself, that person is bullying you. And it doesn't have to happen so many times. It could be just the one time. Okay?
Thank you.
Does that answer your question?
I have
Yes.
a question.
Okay.
Okay.
My name is Royalty Ingolka. What if the teacher supports the bully?
Oh, okay.
Good one.
I don't know, can I speak on that? If you feel that that is the case, am I? Okay, sorry. If you feel that is the case, that the teacher is not being fair to you, the teacher is almost on the side of the bully, that's where your parents in this case, who are the first line of social protection that you have, come in, you report the incident to your parents, and I'll speak directly to parents in this case. Parents, you're going to have to extract as much information as possible from your child and make the appropriate reports. Madonna, Wendy, you guys are you people are experts in this field, but the parents extract information as much as possible, as detailed as possible, and make complaints to the school if your child is reporting bullying to you, and act on that as fast as possible, because the earlier it's identified and acted on, the less adverse the effect will be on the child.
Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, I have another question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
What if your parents don't do anything about it? Royalty.
Royalty.
Okay. If you're okay, now that's really, this is really serious, because to be honest with you, we've seen situations where children have come to their parents asking, you know, talking about certain things that happens at school. The way that the parents might not be able to deal with it or not address it is by them trivializing. If you make that situation seem, you know, oh, it's nothing. Oh,
It's a
those are
part
your
of growing up.
friends.
It's a part
Yes,
of
part of
growing up.
growing up, you know, play with them. And that child, like we said previously, it criticizes because oh, mom is not helping me. And and then what they tend to do.
And I think that what if I was like,
Sorry.
It's the network, don't
I think I
worry.
get suspended.
So okay, let me. So what tends to happen is that child will start forming friendship elsewhere. And that's where the ganging comes in, because they're looking for safe places to hide, because daddy and mommy are not you know,
Safe
listening to
space,
them.
yeah.
So, and that brings us, thank you so much, my young Ngokas, the Ngokas. Thank you, because you really triggered a lot of things here. And that's where we're talking about parents having a safe place for your children. The family is supposed to be a safe haven for your children. A home where you listen, pray together, you catechize your children, you do morally, the first moral instruction starts from when they wake up in the morning. Yeah. And then you go through, when they come back from school, you now run through what has happened during the day. Don't be too busy. I saw Ben, your hand was up. Thank you. I hope that's answered your question. Ben, where are you? I thought I saw your hand up a minute ago.
Thank you, Madonna. Thank you, Chim and Wendy, for this wonderful session.
Where are you?
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Yeah, so the question we wanted to ask, the kids wanted to ask, has been answered. It was the same question the last person from Ngok has asked. So, yeah, any other person can ask.
Emmanuel has a question, just a quick one. Emmanuel, just where is?
Yes, I have a question.
Non, da qui io bene da come si posso qui piace lo che posso che ni
You not think it's a joke?
Emmanuel, go on.
So like sometimes my brother pokes and he thinks it's a joke.
Maureen, can you
He's inaudible. Yeah.
Can you bring him closer to the
mic?
The mic. Yeah.
Go on.
Go on, Emmanuel. So like sometimes my brother is poking me and he thinks it's a joke. I do not think it's a joke.
Maureen, can you repeat that? It's a bit.
Okay, he said that sometimes his brother pokes him and his brother thinks it's a joke, but he doesn't think it's a joke.
Okay.
Brother is older, and yes, it has happened like that. And he actually went to school and said to his teacher that his brother doesn't like him. So the teachers were talking to me about it.
Okay. So how do you as a parent manage that at home? Because that's throwing that back.
Also on you now.
Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I spoke to him. He said that you might find it as a joke because he's much older, and you might think, like a rat that has a little wool playing with it. You realize it's a human being that you're dealing with, as much as much younger than you. He's a human being with feelings. You might find it funny and those things, but you have to realize that Emmanuel is a human being, and what you're doing to him might affect him even later. It might be, have it and even as a resentment towards you even later on in life, because he said it and got to say it in school. It means that it has affected him in a negative way. So you have to be aware of it. If somebody's emotions you're playing, be subtle the way you play with him and try to play him at the level that he is better than you. You have to realize.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
What's the age difference between the two of them?
8.
Oh, okay.
8.
Okay.
Right. Thank you. I was, like I said, I'm working in adult services. So all this so we're dealing with a case where I spoke to a family. They're all in their 50s and 60s, 4 siblings or thereabouts. So when I spoke to, said, oh, there's been this family dynamics. And then each of the siblings are saying the first child, right from their childhood, has been the boss of the family, and that their mom favored her more, than the rest. And then their mom will always say, oh, can't you talk like X? Can't you see the way X talks, speaks, she speaks better English, but they're, white British, yeah? So can't you talk like them? Can't you know? So, and that went on and on until these people, and for a very long time, for 20 years, 25 years, one of the young ones haven't seen, they kind of estranged herself from the family. Does that make sense? So, we've talked about parents being perpetrators of bullying as well. So sibling bullying is also there, like your son, like Emmanuel has, rightly mentioned. And that would also, that where that power imbalance comes in as well. When one adult, one is old, and I know they're a lovely family, you're a very lovely family, wouldn't go to the extent, but if we don't watch it now amongst our brothers and sisters, it goes on. Oh, daddy loves you better, more, mommy loves you more. Someone has a question. So raise your hand. I can't see. There's a button for raising hands.
It's
Okay,
that's
Samsung, there's no name, just
Rita or some Rita.
What's your question?
Rita, you have a, sorry, Rita, where are you?
If someone was getting bullied and they had nothing to do, what should we do?
Okay, hold on, let me find Rita. So, Wendy, please respond while I'm doing the. If
So
someone,
let me understand. You said if someone was being bullied and they have nothing to do, the person that is being bullied,
Yes, okay, yes.
Yes.
they have nothing to do. So they don't have they can't report to the teacher, they can't report to their parents. Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so yes, that's a very good question, because what happens if a child feels helpless? And that's why we have resources, we have support in the UK. There are numbers you could call for support as a child, and we encourage every child to be able to pick up the phone and call that number if they feel that they cannot get support from their children, from their parents, or from their teachers. So there's a child line number which we will put in the chat. I'll wait for Madonna to come back and we can let our children have that number. That is a support line in the UK. They are open 24 hours a day for
yeah,
any child call. And there's always someone on the other side of the line to listen to you and support you. So you will have that number. I'm sure that Madonna will be able to share that number with her.
yeah, I'll share that on the
Yes.
Igbo platform so
Yes.
that
So
the
that the
platform as
children,
well.
yes, the children know that there is always support. You will never be left without support. So you can always call that number any time of the day. Someone is there to support you. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Rita, are you happy with the answer? With the response? Yes. You are. Good. Thank you. All right. Any more? Jason, I think your hand is up.
And there's another after Jason, Favor can ask as
Favor.
well.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So I would just like to share my experience with bullying in my school, because not long ago, like a group of people in my class, they started teasing me, and then it got to the point where one of the boys there started punching me, and so I felt a bit depressed, and I really couldn't say anything to my parents. So my mom had to go to the school and started sorting it out with the teachers there. So I'd just like to share that with you. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't show your face. I don't know whether it's something that you want. I wasn't sure what you wanted to share, so that I don't put it on yeah. Okay. All right. So Jason, how did you feel? Let me remove the spotlights and then start again. How did you feel after that? Did you feel supported?
Yes, I feel like a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, because my mom was there for me when I couldn't talk.
Okay. So did you get any other support from any professionals or the school?
I got some support from some teachers and from the school itself. Yeah.
Okay.
The boy was expecting.
Yeah.
And the result was that the boy was excluded from my class. So
your class. Okay.
It was dealt with properly. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Jason, for sharing that experience. I know your mom told me a bit about it, and it was so bad. And I thank God that has been wonderful. That was wonderfully managed, appropriately managed. Thank God for that. All right. We are just being mindful of time. The time.
Special. Who's special?
One last question.
Who has a question?
Favor,
It's
she's had her
special.
hand up.
Sorry?
It's special.
Special.
Oh,
Go on.
okay.
How do you stabilize emotional bullying around siblings? For example, my younger siblings will come to my room and start annoying me. And when I come to tell my mom or my dad, they'll say that I should leave them alone because they are younger than me.
Oh dear. Okay. So sibling bullying. See that? I need a parent. This is the
my
parent.
God. Can I talk?
You can talk.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Favor. You see, something about kids, as they are different, they have different attitude, different character. One glove does not really help all in terms of the way I deal with A special is not the same way I'll deal with B. Even when you will try to be like, oh, don't do that. Let her have her way. She is younger. The bigger one does not understand it in terms of I have to let go, that it has to do with age. So as a parent, really, it is really very difficult because some days you will be like, oh, okay, let it go this way. And number two child would be like, no, it's not being fair. How do we equalize all these things? Because it's not really easy anywhere. Even for me, I'm like, I don't even know what to do again.
It's 3.
Okay. Wendy, you are an expert. Your mom, you are a professional children's social worker. So please step in. Any other mom can also help how you manage this situation in your own parenting so that other parents can learn.
Yes. I agree that when we're bringing up children, each child is unique in its own way, and we cannot use the same treatment for all the children. We need to, that would be equality. You know, sometimes we want to treat every child equal, but that is not equity. Because if we're treating every child equally, then we're not taking into consideration their individual traits, their individual uniqueness, you know, whatever their individual situation is. So I preach more of equity in the home. And when I say equity, what is that? Everybody has their strengths and everybody has their weaknesses. What is your child's strength? Child 1 might be strong in academics. Child 2 might be strong in sporting activities. Every child is unique. Every child is individual. So we need to identify the areas that the child has strengths and what areas that the child is weak in. And we need to make sure that we are praising them for their strength enough and building their skills, whatever it is, whatever areas of interest that they are. And that comes to say that, yes, as parents, we have the ultimate responsibility to guide our children. And you will have those kind of there are times when you will have to say, okay, you know, you have to think of how to balance it within your children, depending on their strengths, their weaknesses, depending on what you want to achieve at that particular time. My girls, I've got girls who are close in age, and when you've got children that age, they always have conflict. Sometimes I intervene, sometimes I don't. I get them to stop themselves because it's difficult. I agree with you. It's not easy. There's no hard and fast.
At all.
Yes, it's not. So you have to try your best, but make sure that you are celebrating each person for their strengths, and that each person feels that in your home they are safe, they are loved, and that your home is a positive, loving environment. That's what all the children want to know. But we cannot eliminate conflict, definitely not. It is how we handle it, it is how we manage it. Sometimes you step in, sometimes they need to know that they have to compromise. They need to talk. Sometimes I tell them, you know what, talk this. I'm not going to get involved. Talk this among yourselves, okay? And I leave them and close my door for my peace. So you just need to, think of it individually. Every situation that comes, think about that circumstance and handle it the way you would. So the child too, because the child might not understand that she might be saying, oh, mommy is supporting the other person, or mommy is not understanding of the other person. This is where communication comes in. And that's why whenever you do something, you need to be explaining to the child why you are doing that. Children ask a lot of why questions. If you're not answering those why questions, they will go away with their own interpretation. They will say, oh, it's because mommy loves this child more than me. But if you make the child see that the reason why I'm letting this one go away this time is because maybe I feel that you took this too far this time, make them understand, give them an explanation, and then they will understand. So I think parenting is a balancing act, if you ask me. It's a balancing act, trying to balance different personalities while trying to treat them in a way that promotes their strength and their self-worth.
Thank you
I
very
don't know
much.
if that answers the question.
Yeah, it's very insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Wendy. Thank you, Chime. Wendy, I know we have some resources and support net solutions that I think you sort of embedded them into your talk as well as we went on. So do you want to run through that finally, and then we can?
Yes, we've already talked about it. A number of the solutions. We've talked about communication channels, making sure that the children can speak without fear of judgment, building self-esteem, fostering a sense of self-worth. That's very important. Which is why it's also good that this group is put together, a group like the Igbo community in Chelmsford, which is the auspices under which we are here today. It's a great way of fostering self-worth in children, linking them to their identity, letting them know who they are, building their confidence, making them proud of their heritage. These are things that will stand the test of time. Once your child knows who they are, they have that self-esteem, they will be able to pick up on someone that is trying to reduce their confidence, and they'll be able to challenge that child, challenge that adult, speak to the right people about it and end that kind of behavior towards them. So it's very good to build that self-esteem. I already talked about accepting your child for who they are, regardless of their achievements or their mistakes. So let them know that even when you make mistakes, home is home. Come to me, speak to me. Let them know that. Positive language cannot be overemphasized. Some parents speak negative words to their children. That is also a form of bullying. We've talked about that before. That is a strategy. Make sure that you're speaking positively and you're listening actively to them and validating their emotions. Make sure you're spending quality time with them. I know it's busy with our busy work life and everything, trying to find a balance, but it's always good to check with your child every day, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, how their day went, so that they can have that avenue to speak to you about anything that might be brewing in school. So there are a number. I talked about the Childline, specific UK support resources for children who are victims of bullying. We're going to provide a number for children to call if they ever feel like they have nobody to talk to. There's always someone on the other end of the Childline phone. There's also other specific agencies like Bullying UK that you can contact as a child or as a parent to a child who's a victim, and they can offer you some support. There are youth clubs like I think as in our African community, most of us belong to churches or if we're Muslim, we belong to mosque or any religion that we identify with, where we can go to, we can gather, children could gather, they could talk and have a space to talk to themselves and speak to themselves. Those kind of clubs are good. And it's really good that, I put this down, but it's really good that Madonna, I think a child also mentioned that, and you've talked about starting a youth club. It's good because sometimes children might be more open to their peers. So it's also good to have that kind of environment where a child can speak about their experience of bullying if they need someone to speak to. And then for parents of bullied children, if your child is a victim of bullying, I think we've covered that too, because we've had a very good example of a child who was a victim of bullying and how the mom stepped in to support him. That is very great. We should never sweep it under the carpet. Once your child has complained, even if you do not feel that it is big enough to raise it with the school, it will be big enough for your child because they've told you about it. So validate your child's feelings, believe them, and then keep records of the date, the time that your child is telling you that stuff has happened, so that when you go back to the school, you can be more accurate in your complaint. And of course, you're going to work with the schools, work with teachers, counselors, everybody because action plans will be put in place to support your child. You have to be supportive of that so that we can help your child. I think Chime talked about negative coping mechanisms, which we don't want our children to fall into. So we're going to encourage healthy coping mechanisms. And how do we do that? What is your child's hobby? Are they children that love sports? Do they love arts? Channel that energy towards that to help them cope with it. Journaling, you can teach your child to write, journal their experience and be able to reflect on how they are managing and how they are growing through it. Mindfulness and even some breathing techniques. If you're anxious, there are breathing techniques that you can take to help you manage yourself and cope in a healthy way. So we need to encourage our children with more practical ways to cope so that they don't fall back on negative coping mechanisms. And then digital safety education, that is of course, the online activity of our kids. We want to protect them from cyberbullying. So we need to have routines around what they do online, both in our presence and outside our presence. So for UK specific support, there are parent support groups that you could link up with online. There's a Kidscape parent line. There's a number there too, which Madonna will share later. Parents can call that line and they will receive support on how to support their children. There's also the Family Lives Helpline. There's a number there too. Each school has a safeguarding officer who is not normally the child's teacher. So those safeguarding officers also offer support to parents as well as to children. So parents can approach their school safeguarding officer for support with that. And then for parents of children that are bullies, we need to recognize the patterns of aggressive behavior in our children. So in as much as we all like the positives, some of our children would start to show aggressive behavior from a young age. So we need to recognize the warning signs and assess intervention early. I have a child who started nursery and was hitting every other child in that nursery. And then the referral came to us because from the nursery, noticing how he hits children, they started asking questions. And it turns out that his parents' relationship was so abusive that he was watching them fight every single day. And he normalized such behavior that he went to nursery and started hitting everybody. And they will notice that he hits the girls even more than he will the boys. This is why positive role modeling is very important. Your children see what you are doing and they do what they see. They don't do what you say, but they do what they see. So be a positive role model to your children, and where you recognize patterns of aggressive behavior, seek early intervention. And then there's also support for for parents of children engaging in bullying. There's online support. You see, if you Google Kidscape training, Ditch the Label, Roots of Empathy, all of this will be provided. These are online support groups that you could approach, and they could support you as a parent to manage your child if your child is engaging in bullying. And there's also the Triple P parenting program that is free. It's online. You can sign up. You go there. They teach you how to early signs of such behaviors, what to look out for, the awareness that you need. Yeah, there's all such support online. And then finally, we talk about the community school. We've all talked about, we all know that the school has anti-bullying policies, so they should be used in the first instance. The school would always have zero tolerance for bullying. So once your child is being bullied and they've reported to you, you should be speaking to the school because there are clear rules. One of the children talked about how the child that was bullying him was suspended. They will not take bullying lightly. So always speak to the schools and always keep the record so that you are able to clearly report what your child is going through. There's a lot of awareness campaign. One of such is what we're doing today. We're creating a lot of awareness for the children. We're promoting kindness. So children, we know to be kind to each other as we're speaking to you to identify the behavior that could be considered bullying. We're also speaking to you to make sure that you are not bullies yourself. Make sure that you are kind to each other in school, and make sure that you are not being a bully to somebody else in school and hurting their feelings. So we need to understand that we're talking about both ways. And there are also resources, online resources and templates that you could use, that the schools use, that you could also use to manage your child's behavior if they are the perpetrators of the bullying in school. Yeah, so that would be it from me. Any questions?
Thank you so much. Any questions? Any questions? I'll be sharing the solutions and resources that Wendy has just mentioned. We'll share that on the platform. And I know there are people who aren't on the Igbo platform, but we'll make that available to you in whatever means. Yeah. Any questions before we wrap it up? Thank you so much, everybody. Let me just get the full screen so I can see everybody's faces. Is anyone raising up their hands? Is that Favor? You want to unmute yourself? Is your hand up?
Yes.
Okay. Can you talk now? You can talk.
What if someone these means about your appearance?
About your parents. Okay, your parents. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Appearance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your parents.
Your
Your
appearance.
appearance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. The way you dress and the way you present, yeah. Your social presentation, physical presentation. Okay, and that's part of bullying. You remember when they touched on how, and of course I mentioned that as well. If you feel someone has said something to you that makes you feel have a negative that has a very negative impact on you, makes you feel sad, upset, or puts you down, that is bullying. So you have to report that. Yeah. You need to be speaking to your teacher or whoever, there's an adult who's around you, or your parents. Yeah. And I know I've heard of some parents that say, oh, if you're bullied at school, go back and fight back. If you punch a child or a young person that bullies you, you will be the one to prosecute it because you had not reported the bullying and they've taken the law into your hands. Allow the system to deal with that. But the earlier you report it, the better, so that the authorities will manage the situation properly. Don't fight. Physical aggression is never the result, the remedy for any situations. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, any more? Okay, I think we need to end it here now. All right, thank you so much, everybody. I am so, I don't know, I feel so overwhelmed. First of all, I have to thank my professional colleague, Wendy. Wendy, when my goddaughter approached Wendy because I was looking for another, everyone is busy. This is a holiday period. And Wendy instantly said yes. Wendy, thank you. Thank you so much for coming to the rescue. You are now my pally in this race. You're my pally. So hold on, that button is there. So I'll call you. I normally call people like, come on, something is happening, and that's it. Thank you. And thank you so much, Chime,
Thank
who
you.
has also been available and given us a huge, and he didn't even, when I also approached Chime just said, what is it? Okay, there was no resistance. And that's to tell you the much affection that we all have in terms of from our own Afro-Caribbean, we living away from home, trying to create awareness of everything to you as parents. And I'm so pleased that this call was answered. And I'll thank all the parents here, first of all the young people. All the young people, thank you so much. Where are you? Where are you? Let me do a big one. So I need all the young people to get their, if I have a big screen.
Thank you guys so much for this meeting.
Oh, I thank you mostly because you contributed. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to have a big screen so that we have all the young people who have participated. Thank you. You are awesome.
Thank you so much for taking us through the steps of what to do when getting bullied.
Oh, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for teaching us what you do when someone bullies you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Chime, any last word from you?
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Madonna, for putting this together, and Wendy for giving me this platform as well. Thank you, all the parents and executive of our group. Thank you for the parents that brought their kids around and the children for contributing. It's been like your questions were very significant, and the person that shared their own lived experience. Thank you for allowing us and others to learn from your experience. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your explanation about bullying was impactful, insightful, and educative for me.
Who is saying that?
That's special.
Who is that?
Special.
Oh, special. Thank you, everyone.
Right, thank you, guys.
Wendy, thank you so much. Thank you
so much. Thank you for the platform. Thank you for allowing me to speak here. It's been a pleasure listening to all the children. You are all right, so assertive. I like that you are confidently speaking up here. It tells me that if you're facing anything at school, everything will come to you, you would be bold enough to come up and know that you're not, and speak to your parents and speak to your teachers about it. That is great. Thank you, parents, for bringing your children here. That this is the best thing we can do with them. Empower them with the knowledge so that they know that they are not alone in whatever they are facing in life, but in school. This would, prepare them for the future. So well done, and thank you for having me. It's been great being here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And I'm so pleased. I'm so happy. So we're going to be putting some slides, not all the slides. This will be available on YouTube, and then for you to always go back to and then, learn so much. If any of the young persons have any topic that you want us to present, please come through your parents. They will come to us, and Wendy and I and Chime and other people will assist, and also you can be the presenter. So you'll be the presenter because that's topics that affect you. I need you to bring that out, and that's what we're going to start doing within the Igbo community. Thank you. God bless you all, and remember to pray as one family is very important. Prayer, parents listening to your children. If you're just coming into the UK for the first time, please learn the culture. There's cultural differences. Don't just jump in. Children's services, we have a massive influx of referrals that are not supposed to be there. Things that you do back in Africa that you come in, you think are the same. It's not the same because we pick on every slightest behavior from you as a parent. The way you talk, your children will go back to the school and report, oh, daddy said this, mommy said this, and they kind of will blow it out of proportion. And you wouldn't know that is a risk. It causes harm. So please, let's zip our tongues and talk reasonably, please, yeah? On a lighter note, God bless you.
Miss McDonough. Miss McDonough.
Yeah, Madonna, yeah?
I have one last thing to say.
Okay.
I want to be a value for the Igbo community and help it grow more.
Okay. Right. Is Ben still here? Ben, are you listening? Ben is our president. Ben, I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're taking notes.
Who is speaking? Who just spoke?
Special.
What's your name?
Special. Tell your name.
My name is Special Ngoka.
Ngoka. Dr. Ngoka's daughter.
Okay,
yeah.
I'll speak with your dad, and then we can add you to the children's program. Yeah, we are planning. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we now end with pray one our Father, and then we end it here, calling God the Father to be in our midst and to thank Him specially. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And deliver us from all evil. Power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Thank you. God bless you all.
Bye.
God bless you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Those are joined from Nigeria and every other parts of the world. Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.